of thousands of drones are expected to take to the skies in the next 10 years. They won't all fly as high and fast as this one, but unmanned aerial vehicles will be used by the military, law enforcement, emergency responders, even news organizations. And the drone you just saw is one of the most popular, already in use by the Air Force.
You know, that drone, you're probably never going to see it flying overhead, but this drone is still a lot closer than you might think. It blasts off like a rocket and flies like a cruise missile.
This vehicle will do everything that a fighter aircraft will do.
Top speed, nearly 700 miles an hour. It flies to 50,000 feet, or just 50 feet above the deck.
This vehicle will pull 9G sustained turns. What that means is there is no loss of altitude and no loss of speed.
It's almost a secret weapon because few people ever see one blaze across the sky. But when it takes off, it flies like a bat out of Sacramento. On Raleigh Boulevard, that's where the hottest target drones in the military are built. CEI, Composite Engineering, might be the most secretive aerospace company in Sacramento. It's rare to get a peek behind the wrought iron gates. This sign on a back fence would give anybody second thoughts about trying to sneak a peek at what goes on here. The company has grown from 80 employees 10 years ago to roughly 400 today. Their success is built on the Skeeter, a bright orange target drone flown by remote control. Price tag $570,000, and some of them will fly only once. Air Force fighter pilots armed with air-to-air missiles go gunning for these made-in-Sacramento target drones over the Gulf of Mexico.
So when we go up there, they represent what would be the enemy.
Rod Zastro flew the F-15 in the Gulf War. He believes that target drones are a big reason why no American fighter jet has been shot down in air-to-air combat since Vietnam.
It helps our aviators feel confident about the systems they're carrying and employing going into combat.
The bad guys know this is a dogfight they're gonna lose. Patrolling the no-fly zone over Iraq, Zastro spotted an incoming enemy fighter on radar, locked his missiles on the bandit, but didn't even need to fire.
And as a result, he actually turned around and departed the area.
The drones are no easy target, launching flares to throw off an incoming missile. Missiles fired during practice don't carry a warhead, but they might hit the drone and knock off a wing or a tail fin. The drones parachute into the Gulf of Mexico, where they're plucked out of the water, repaired, and flown again. But most survive no more than 5 to 7 missions. Rod Zastro blew a drone out of the sky when his AIM-7 missile slammed into the drone's fuel tank.
Because of where it hit it, it created quite a large fireball, so it was quite noticeable. And it was very satisfying in the sense that I knew the system worked.
The drones do cause a scare when one washes up on the Gulf Coast, looking like a cruise missile. Some think it's a spy plane. Flying below the radar, staying mostly out of sight, seems to work pretty well. Not for drones, but for the company that builds them in Sacramento. CEI has built hundreds of target drones for the Air Force and some of our allies. It is not unusual for defense contractors to operate under very tight security. CEI never said no to cooperating with this story. I was just put on hold for 2 years. Most of the information was taken from military websites. A full disclosure, Rod Zastro, the F-15 pilot, he's a relative of mine. He's commanded a fighter group, he's taught at the War College, and he's shot at a few drones. He is a very credible source and a big fan, obviously, of the target drones. And I probably owe him a couple of beers.